Once upon a time, in a faraway land, there was a village nestled amidst rolling hills and lush fields. In this village lived a man named Rafiq. Rafiq was a simple man with a pure heart. He went about his life with childlike innocence, often losing himself in daydreams. While he was hardworking and honest, his mind would wander so often that he'd frequently forget where he was supposed to be or what he was supposed to do. He was married to a woman named Shazia. Unlike Rafiq, Shazia was a very smart woman. Not only was she intelligent, but also sharp-tongued. Her tongue could cut through butter, and she had a knack for finding fault with everything and everyone. More than anything, she loved arguing. You could say that she was an expert at starting fights. One day, Shazia was feeling particularly bored, so she decided to find some excitement by picking a fight with her poor husband. She turned to Rafiq and said, "Rafiq, I want you to go to the market and pick up some tea leaves. But remember, no mistakes. Bring the strongest kind of tea, not that weak stuff you got last time." Rafiq listened attentively, nodding his head vigorously to show that he understood. Yes, my love. Don't you worry. I've got it all in my head. Strongest tea ever, no mistakes." As soon as he finished speaking, he left the house and headed to the market. Rafiq ambled through the bustling marketplace, completely oblivious to the chaos around him. He strolled past vendors, shoppers, and livestock, his mind lost in a world of its own. When he finally reached the tea shop, he found himself surrounded by an array of tea packets, each promising a different flavor and strength. He scanned the shelves, completely baffled. Suddenly, he spotted a packet with the words "Extra Strong Tea" boldly printed on it. Thinking that this must be the kind of tea that Shazia wanted, he grabbed the packet without a second thought. Upon returning home, Shazia took the tea leaves and started boiling them on the stove. The aroma quickly filled the kitchen, tantalizing their senses. Shazia then poured the steaming liquid into cups and handed one to Rafiq. He took the cup, brought it to his nose, and inhaled deeply, pretending to be discerning. This smells just like a donkey bath," he commented casually. Shazia couldn't help but burst out laughing. "Donkey bath water? What do you mean?" she asked, amusement dancing in her eyes. "This reminds me of a story I heard once about a clever donkey," Rafiq began, completely ignoring Shazia's question. He went on to tell a long, winding tale about a donkey that outsmarted a group of robbers, completely forgetting about the tea. By the time he finished his story, Shazia had lost interest and was now staring at the untouched cup of tea in front of her. She let out a long sigh. "Well, Rafiq, this tea is definitely not what I asked for. It's not strong at all. It tastes like water mixed with leaves picked from the roadside," Shazia exclaimed, taking a sip from the cup. Rafiq looked at the cup in his hands, realization dawning on his face. "Oh, you were talking about the tea, weren't you?" he asked sheepishly. "Yeah, I guess I got distracted by your beautiful face," he added with a wink, hoping to lighten the mood. But Shazia was in no mood for his playful antics. "You and your silly jokes," she retorted, rolling her eyes. "Just go get some more tea, but this time get it right. If I hear any more stories about donkeys, I swear I'll throw you out on the streets." Rafiq, though disappointed, knew better than to argue with his wife. He nodded obediently and headed back to the market. To his surprise, the shopkeeper at the tea store recognized him and greeted him warmly. "Welcome back, sir. Did you find the tea I recommended last time?" the shopkeeper asked, a twinkle in his eye. Rafiq shook his head sheepishly and explained about Shazia's request for a stronger brew. The shopkeeper, understanding Rafiq's predicament, led him to a different section of the store, showcasing a variety of teas known for their robust flavors. After much deliberation, Rafiq chose a blend that promised to be bold and invigorating. But unfortunately, when Shazia tasted it, she wasn't impressed. "What have you brought? This tastes like donkey bath water," she declared, wrinkling her nose. Rafiq couldn't believe his ears. Hadn't he just told her that it tasted like donkey bath water? How could she accuse him of bringing donkey bath water again? He wanted to protest, but seeing the annoyed look on Shazia's face, he decided against it. Instead, he remained silent, wondering how he could possibly please his wife and escape another scolding. Shazia threw her head back in frustration. "Why can't you listen properly? You've brought the wrong thing again," she exclaimed, massaging her temples as if to relieve a pounding headache. Rafiq bit his lower lip, trying to hold back tears. He really wanted to explain that he had brought the correct item, but he knew that wouldn't change the situation. So he simply nodded silently, accepting his wife's disappointment. The following day, Shazia woke up with a mischievous glint in her eye. She decided to play a little trick on Rafiq. "Today, I'm going to send you to the market to buy eggs," she announced, a playful smile tugging at her lips. "Make sure to pick up a dozen fresh ones, and remember, no mistakes. If I find even one bad egg, you'll sleep outside tonight." Rafiq gulped, knowing that Shazia meant business. He nodded obediently, trying to quell the fear that was creeping up on him. At the market, Rafiq found the eggs without much trouble. However, as Shazia had instructed, he needed to check each one thoroughly. So he started examining the eggs closely, sniffing them and shaking them gently to ensure they were fresh. Rafiq stood there for a while, diligently inspecting each egg. People passing by couldn't help but stare at him curiously, wondering what he was doing. Some exchanged amused glances, while others whispered among themselves, trying to figure out the reason behind Rafiq's unusual behavior. One inquisitive passerby couldn't resist asking, "Excuse me, but why are you holding those eggs near your ear?" he inquired, suppressing a smile. Rafiq, startled by the sudden question, jumped slightly and quickly covered the eggs with both hands, as if hiding them from the world. My wife told me to shake them to see if they're fresh," Rafiq replied, his voice laced with uncertainty. The passerby burst out laughing, causing other shoppers nearby to join in. "Your wife told you to listen to the heartbeat of the eggs," he said between chuckles. "I haven't heard of such a method before." Rafiq felt a blush creeping up his neck, and he lowered his gaze, embarrassed by the attention. He quickly paid for the eggs and rushed home, eager to put the incident behind him. But as he hurried along, he suddenly slipped on a loose cobblestone, and before he knew it, the eggs tumbled out of the basket and shattered on the ground. Startled by the loud crack of breaking eggshells, Rafiq turned to see Shazia standing at the entrance, her eyes wide with surprise. The sight of the broken eggs and the remnants of yolk staining the ground made her gasp. Without a word, she turned around and walked back inside, leaving Rafiq standing there in disbelief. He slowly bent down to examine the mess, his heart sinking as he realized the extent of the damage. With a heavy sigh, he began cleaning up the mess, knowing that he was in for a world of trouble when Shazia discovered the state of the eggs. As Shazia stepped back into the house, a sly smile crept onto her face. She approached Rafiq and playfully said, Well, it seems like our Rafiq has outdone himself again. Just look at what you've done. We can practically drink egg soup directly from the basket now." Rafiq, still bent over the mess, let out a tired sigh and responded, Yes. My dear wife, perhaps you're right. This time I've truly outdone myself. But hey, who needs fresh eggs when we've got cracked ones, right?" he said with a forced chuckle, attempting to lighten the tense atmosphere. Despite Rafiq's attempt at humor, Shazia couldn't help but burst into laughter. As the sound echoed through the house, she wiped a tear from her eye and said, "You know what, Rafiq? Sometimes I wonder how I got lucky enough to marry a man who brings laughter into my life on a daily basis. Your carelessness might drive me crazy, but your ability to find humor in any situation never fails to make me smile." "It's my gift, my love," Rafiq replied, beaming with pride. "I may not bring money or the right items, but I always bring laughter for free. And that, my dear Shazia, is a priceless gift." And so, as the sun set over the horizon, casting long shadows across the village, Rafiq and Shazia continued to laugh, their joy echoing through the house a melody that only they could understand. Their laughter mingled with the chirping of crickets and the distant hum of the village, creating a symphony of happiness that resonated deep within their hearts. And as the night deepened, their laughter subsided into contented smiles, a testament to the enduring power of love and the beauty of imperfection.